Welcome, students. Part 2 of your teriyaki rice ball talks about making your stir-frying your vegetables. And there's a little bit of a trick, not too much of it, so I wanted to go over it really quick. First off, on preparing your carrot, the first thing that I'd like you to do is to peel it. Though the peeling has some wonderful good things in it, it also has a little color and a texture that we don't want to have included in to this stir fry. I'm peeling this over the top of my countertop, not over the top of the garbage can. Why? Because if you try to peel it over the top of the garbage can, you're going to have a mess all over the floor. So I've got this peeled. I've removed that outside of my carrot. I'm going to chop off the tails and I'm going to chop off the tops. A little bit of texture, some things that are kind of funky. Let me throw that away. And I'm going to come back, and my instructions tell me that I'm going to cut it into 1.5 to 2 inch segments. I'm going to say it's about the size of your finger, from the pointer finger past the first to the second knuckle. Now, I don't want your finger in there to actually be as a measurement, but I want you to use that as more or less a guide as to how big we want these to be. If you end up with a little bit bigger piece, I'm going to suggest that let's keep them all the same. And now we're going to go ahead and cut this in half lengthwise, lay it flat, and then we're going to cut these into some small strips. All right? If you get close to your fingers, then you're in trouble. I'm going to go ahead and even one more time, can you remember this? I'm going to cut these into like little match sticks. All right? I'm going to do that on all of our carrots. We're all going to get them to be kind of like little matchsticks. What shape are we looking for? Matchsticks. You remember the claw that I'm doing right here? Remember how to hold your knife correctly? Keep your fingers out of the way so you don't end up getting hurt. All right, besides preparing our carrots like this, and I'm going to assume that you can go ahead and finish preparing all of your carrots to be this size, you also are in charge of getting some broccoli into bite-sized pieces. Again, I would finish cutting these the same that this is right here. The broccoli is going to come in a head. These are referred to as flowerets. I have previously washed all of this, and now I'm going to get these into some smallish pieces. That is not bite size. So from the stem down, I'm going to go and just cut in and pull away. Push down, pull away. Push down, pull away. And that's going to give us some bite-sized pieces. You can go back and look at them, and again, I think this is too big. I'm going to go ahead and cut down, pull away. I'm not going to cut from the flowerette top. I'm not going to cut from this side. I'm going to cut from the base part. Otherwise, you have all these little tiny pieces of broccoli hanging all over the place. All right, so I'm going to cut those all into bite-sized pieces. Okay? All right, continue on, finish the rest of that. Then I'm going to do more or less the same thing with the cauliflower. The cauliflower also comes in flowerettes. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut away from, it's like a core stem that runs down the middle. I'm going to cut all of these flowerettes off. Again, this is already being pre-washed. And then I'm going to push, pull, cut down, pull away, cut in, pull away, cut in, pull away. So that I have all these smaller pieces. And if I think they're too big, I'm going to cut them into smaller pieces. I'm going to make it so that they're bite-sized so that when a person eats my stir fry, they're not having a mouthful of giant pieces of vegetable. Okay? Notice I'm just cutting from that, in that stem, and then I'm pulling away. I'm not doing it from the top. I'm doing it from the bottom. Until all of my pieces of broccoli and cauliflower and carrots are all small bite-sized pieces. I'm going to assume that you can do the rest of this. You don't have to watch me do it all. These are all into bite-sized pieces, and if they're too big, just give them a little bit of a cut. All right, the next thing that we're going to be doing is putting it into the pan, and sometimes we call this pan fry and sometimes we call it stir fry. The instructions tell us that we need to have a 1/2 tablespoon of oil. I've given you extra in case it starts to stick. And I'm going to let that oil heat up for just a 1/2 second. It's on a medium-high heat. And I'm going to grab my pancake turner, and it sadly is not convenient. All right, I'm going to just pull this around. It's going to start floating on top of that pan. You can feel with your hand I can feel heat here. If I'm curious as to whether it's really hot, take a little bit of oil, and of course if it starts sizzling, we know that it's hot. Then you're gonna take all of your veggies, you're gonna pop them in there. That's the water and the oil not liking each other. Put your vegetables in here, and you're just gonna gently move this around, turning it over, stir frying this about 5 minutes. And if you see any browning on your vegetables, you're off the heat, my friend. Get it right off. So this is just one step in your teriyaki rice bowl. You will have already known how to cook your rice from the discussion. You'll follow those instructions, remembering lid is on, water simmering, do not stir. Let it just do its thing. Then you're going to stir fry these veggies till they're nice and tender crisp, about 5 minutes. You can check them with a fork for their texture. And then finally the sauce. And the sauce is easy enough. Just do it, follow the instructions, and everything is cool. All right, stir fry. Similar to a saute, just keep it going right here with this particular pan, and you are good to go. That, my friends, will make a delicious vegetable contribution to your teriyaki rice bowl. If you wanted to add beef, if you wanted to add chicken, you could go ahead and do that too, but we're just going with the vegetarian portion of it. Good luck, enjoy.